I really believe when there's a fire, you take the water, whatever tools you have, and you start putting down the fire. There's no need for discussions and panels and five-star hotels and
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars and sometimes millions to discuss how to understand the starvation in Gaza. When you can just call it starvation and simply just try to send them food, like if you can't stop Israel, at least do urgent aid for the people, or at least don't justify what's happening. Don't justify it because it's not done in your interest anyway. Like, don't be a loser.
Yeah.
At least, like, seriously. But whatever is happening now is another front in this war.
Welcome back to War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. Now, on this podcast, we talk about a lot of issues within the war industry, but my guest today, Hamze Awawde, has written some incredibly enlightening and powerful pieces about the peace industry that I'm excited to dive deep into and selfishly make sure that I don't fall into the same trap. Even though I'm just like a stand-up comedian in my bedroom in Brooklyn, interacting with the peace industrial complex, and I'm excited for your perspective on where they flopped and how they can do better. So thank you, Hamze. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Orli.
On Substack, you write about, and I quote, the long, slow rot of the peace industrial complex, how a noble cause mutated into a donor-pleasing economy that sold fake hope and ultimately radicalized the extremes. So what are the peace industry's priorities, and what should they be instead?
Oh, very good question. Well, when we talk about Israel-Palestine peace industry, it is not grassroots activism as many outsiders might perceive it. It has two levels. One level is the liberal Zionist elite and Western governments want to do a PR washing of their deep complexity and complicity in the suffering and death and destruction of the Palestinian people and the harm to the Jewish people and the crimes that are done in their name by spending some few pennies here and there to show that that it's not one-sided complicity in the world, that this is just diversity of opinions and streams, while it is just having one goal, which is tricking mainly Jewish diaspora, but also Western societies at large, that this is not totally bad and this is not totally evil. Look, like the Palestinians and the Israelis hugging and eating hummus together.
It's always hummus, never kanafe.
Yeah, and never kanafe, because they are very professionally smart at hijacking people's minds and hearts with things that they can relate to. But on the actors are not that sophisticated with their agenda. They're just mainly looking for income and job and travels. And obviously, we should acknowledge that the Israelis and the Palestinians are not equal in this power dynamic. So the Israeli usually end up getting most of the money and the hero branding, because wow, look, this Israeli is talking to a Palestinian after taking their land, after serving in the army that stopped them at the checkpoint and carrying out all the atrocities. They end up getting away with all of that, and all these details get overlooked because, wow, look how angel they are because they are in the same video with Hamze, while the Palestinian is desperate. If you look at the situation in the West Bank and Gaza and inside Israel, there is a war at all levels: economic war, social war, physical war. People, young people especially, have no opportunities whatsoever to do anything in their life, and it's a deliberate policies that the Israeli government is leading, and the Israeli society is involved completely without questioning, and the Western governments completely also partner in this. So in this very desperate situation, you can put yourself in this situation. You start following a mirage, or maybe it's not all the Zionist side like this. Or maybe if I just show them that I'm a good person, that I'm not harmful, they will open their mind and heart, which is obviously, from my experience, a myth. A myth that you tell yourself to survive, basically. But the other side exploits it very powerfully. So I wouldn't say all the actors are equal, but there are definitely an elite that is doing this for strategic reasons to maintain Jewish diaspora support for this war, or at least silence and confusion. And small actors who want to make thousands of dollars for speaking fees on this. For example, last year I went to San Francisco and I did a tour in synagogues, which was pretty much for free or sometimes with very little money. I was attacked by these organizations. They didn't say, "Oh, thank you for going to all your way to the Jewish society in California to tell them your story." They were like, "Why are you taking our market? Why are you not charging a lot of money? You are ruining it for us." And this was their attitude. I was attacked first by the industry actors, Palestinians and Israelis alike, and sanctioned because it's not about peace. It's for many just lucrative, easy way to make a lot of money. And for the elite, it should be just to control the narrative and control what Jewish families and individuals know. And when they hear it from a Palestinian, it's even more confusing to them. Because, look, if the Palestinian is confirming the Israeli narrative, who are they to have any questioning and to have any discomfort with what's happening and the death of children and the starvation and all of that?
How did you find your way into this work, or how did this work find you?
No, I was born and during the first Intifada in Oslo. When I was a teenager, it was the second Intifada. It was a war zone. I didn't go to school much because of bombing and closures and security issues. Our house was attacked multiple times. My room was attacked twice. The bullet was few centimeters from my head. As a child, I wanted a normal life. My father had to emigrate and leave us because of the situation. And peace for me meant life, whatever compromise I was willing to make. With my simple mind, I didn't have a complex, complex view of the world and so on. If somebody is harassing you in your neighborhood, I say, I want to say whatever they want and leave me alone, right? Like, I don't want to fight. I don't want anything. Who am I to fight Israel and America and the Western guilt of whatever horrible things they have done to the world and colonization. I was willing to forgive all of that. So out of desperation, I joined that with really good intentions and filled myself with fake hopes, basically to give it a try. And I started as a participant, then I worked on it, and I succeeded very much. I co-founded a movement in 2011 that was called Yalla Young Leaders, which was the first social media-based peace movement. And I did it with Uri Savir and Shimon Peres, who are the architects of Oslo. We succeeded. We had 1 million followers. People trusted me, especially the Palestinians and the Arabs, that I'm not a fraud. And I was fighting inside the system, assuming that there's no evil intentions, there's just lack of knowledge and lack of information. And if you explain it rationally in English and using terminologies the liberals understand, that why not to expect them to do the right thing? Because right thing is good also for them and for their families and their children and grandchildren. And I tried and I tried and tried. Over the times, I realized that each time I'm actually making the case, I'm sanctioned. Each time I'm proving that there's a different way of doing this work, that they look for a replacement for me, or they isolate me, or they make sure my name is deleted from meetings with important actors and so on. I was dealing with complexity, so I was like, okay, it's not a honeymoon, and it is in a way a kind of resistance to deal with this system and still making your voice heard, because despite the organized isolation attempt, I was still outside the game, getting exposures with people who have good intentions and make their way to me. But over the time, I also found that they're actually exploiting my independent, mostly free of charge work to legitimize their evil work in front of certain groups and societies, and saying, look, Hamze is with us. Hamze, like I would walk into randomly to an event and find my photo and my quotes on that event. So I started to feel that I'm passively doing evil by not speaking up, by not confronting these people, and that it's no longer enough that I'm able to do good, because my good work is being exploited to whitewash the genocide and apartheid, to confuse people who, I don't know their heart, but they might, if they heard the truth, take a different stand. Because my work is clean and deeply embedded in faith and intellectualism, experiences on the ground, and so on, is being used to clean the 99% of the work that is done for evil. So the moment came when was like, no, I have to make a shift, because whatever in the past I did, I'm not sure it was contributing to good, but now for sure it's contributing to evil. And I started my Substack. So I think the Palestinians in that field, many of them have similar experiences to me. Especially now, you see a lot of Gazans are featured in that industry. And why particularly Gazans? Because they are the most desperate. The most desperate. They're using, so like, God forbid, like I kill your parents, I kill your children, I kill your siblings, and then I use you to clean that crime. Like, haven't seen that level of evilness. So West Bankers, some of them in that industry came from elitist background, so they have a little bit of power to challenge the game. So they replaced them with Gazans who had to leave and they have family behind. and they push them to speak certain narratives and use them to fight any anti-war or anti-genocide grassroots activism, especially in the US, by saying, look, this guy lost 30 people from his family, and he's saying these protests are pro-Hamas, or these protesters are idiots. And you know, it has to be confronted. It has to be confronted because I know people should know themselves and alone that this is weird. It feels weird, but I can imagine the Jewish diaspora going through confusion and shame and so on. Easy certainty can easily penetrate their mind and heart, because that's a human thing. Like we want an easy explanation and answer. So yeah, when they come to New York with an Israeli and make it sound that this is some bad guys here and bad guys there, and don't worry, we are fixing it, and look how we love each other, and we hug at the end, the majority will buy this show. And who benefits? The benefits, yeah, we have to ask who benefits from this narrative.
You say show, and in your writing, you also call it a circus. Just how stage managed are these productions? Like, the questions are the same every time? You feel like you're following a script?
The whole thing is scripted. Every book came out, had a ghostwriter who wrote from A to Z every argument there, every argument. And that ghostwriter had advisors and experts and PR professionals top in the US. So the books are not the stories of these people or their views on this, which we might agree or not, but it's not even their views. So even if we like it, it's a scam. They get trained on how to answer questions. So use the word polarization and extremist on both sides. Generously criticize Hamas, never criticize the structural characteristic of the state of Israel and the army and the military and the intelligence and the policies of apartheid and using. You cannot use genocide word. You cannot use apartheid. You cannot criticize serving in the army. You have to show that that there is both sides pain and make it sound like equal, and it is trained by telling you, especially to the Palestinian, oh, if you use this expression or if you speak about the reality this way, it's not helpful, it's not useful, it's not smart, it's not gonna appeal to the people. And you never ask yourself, smart for whom, appeal for whom, like who's benefiting from this? Because it is like and you can feel this same dynamic in other contexts. It is like staged up by, like, you know, the also the foreigners in this field make you feel like you are their friend, but then tell you, oh no, like if you use word apartheid, then they're not gonna listen to you, and then they're not gonna empathize with your side. So you end up telling them that everything is fine, and the people just love seeing this Israeli and Palestinian together and go home, and business continue as usual. But it's all not an innocent mistakes. It's an industry. It is strategic, because sometimes the Palestinian with the time understand it and understand the game and start to go outside the line and really using the most polite way to explain the reality, then you get disinvited, and then you get isolated, and then you get punished and replaced immediately. So it's like a natural selection. Whoever, and people subconsciously, unconsciously understand that if you want to be rewarded, you have to speak this way, and you have to accept things to be done in your name, and articles published in Western media in your name that you never wrote, serving agenda against your own people. All of that is happening so you can get the fellowship, you can get the money or whatever. Everyone knows, especially the Israelis, because I personally spoke with every single Israeli in that field about this and how it's stupid. I'm not serving them because they are living now in a state like state of Israel that is 100% messianic and settler oriented. So it's not the state that gonna be good fit for them or their children, and they are nearly becoming like a Palestinian in the game. They never challenged me or said this is wrong. But at the end of the day, selfishly, they want this $10,000 a month to come to their account. So they're not gonna say something or challenge something that is gonna work against their personal interest. So it is like swamps, like very corrupt, very. Well, everyone knows, like there's no one there. Like you might find very young Palestinians and Jewish in this field who don't understand, but 90% there who's still there knows exactly what's happening.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad I'm talking to you now because I was on the cusp of applying to grad school. And it seems like, no, those are the very people who get the fellowships, get the tuition money, or who will give you the scholarship, who are complicit. And I want to talk about another C word, complexity. You mentioned complexity. I heard it my whole life growing up. I'm in a Jewish community in Toronto. Oh, it's complicated. It's complicated. How is the word complexity used in the context of Israel-Palestine, and what role does it play in enabling what we all see now on our phones are atrocities?
You know, I really believe in the concept of complexity in life, as universe is complex, and I always understood it as an incentive to go deep in this complexity and deconstruct it and symbolize it and get there. And I think humanity has always, from day one in this planet, done that, and that was its way to progress and to elevate its conscious and understanding and all of that. But you know, when you put poison inside honey, there it's used to neutralize people and confuse them.
Mm-hmm.
You, through your human instincts and curiosity, say, oh, wait, this is sound weird. And then they make you sound or feel stupid and quickly rushing into conclusion, as they always say, until you know it's complex. And then they threw some very taught and very trained statements and arguments to make you sound stupid and make you sound that you shouldn't dig there. That if you go deeper, then you just expose how stupid you are because who you are, like these people know what they are doing and so on. So they use the word complexity in evil way. I am for like I'm raising a child and I'm raising him without telling him anything in the word is simple or any belief is simple, but this to make him develop his brain and mind to go bravely and ready for this to deconstruct it and make things easier for him and others. But no, they don't do it. Like, for example, if you see, I don't know, a neighbor who is abusing his wife, and obviously you see that he is hitting his wife, and then the third person tell you it's complicated. So you are neutralized from this game. You can watch if you want and suffer, or easier to ignore. So this is the machine, and this is the people who master the confusion in that game will get rewarded to the highest level you can imagine. Like there's no limits. The more you, if I, for example, used my skills and my knowledge in that game, I could be today in the White House if I wanted, because it's a very rewarding skill, very rewarding to manage public opinions. And sadly so, and it took me a long time to understand why they're doing that, to confuse the Jewish diaspora. So at this moment, they don't care if all New York is anti-Israel. They don't care if all New York, even anti-Semitic. You know, as long as the Jewish New Yorkers are neutralized and silent about what's being done in their name. So when we think about the beneficiary of this war or this atrocities against humanities, it's a mistake to think the Jewish people, even if some of them think so, because it's really a minority of lunatics, of messianic lunatics, psychologically sick or financially dependent on the war or the military violent complex, or the people who think it's too late to do anything good. But the majority of Jewish people in the world are not beneficiary of this, yet they are being exploited to sustain what's happening and give it some legitimacy and some historical connection and some biblical references and so on. And the peace industry is a big actor on this. And every dollar they get, and if you follow the money, who funds them, you understand. You understand what's going on. Like look at the political stands and the political involvements of the American Jewish donors in that industry, and you see they are the same who are funding 100 times more the war and everything that has to go with the war.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that about how the status quo doesn't benefit the Jewish community, and that you're sacrificing the opportunity to eat McDonald's at the White House with the president by speaking the truth. You could have, gotten to. He knows how to throw a good party. This president. You're an incredible writer, and a particular banger from your work sentence that resonated a lot was: settler violence is visible because it erupts. State violence is harder to see because it governs. We see mainstream Jewish institutions now condemning settler violence without mentioning state violence. So for those who don't know, what is the difference? Is there a difference? Or is one just the more social media, viral, ready version of the other?
If we really study the history of settlers in Palestine, for example, it was the Labour Party and Shimon Peres who established the first settlements after 1967 war inside the Palestinian territories against UN resolutions. It was not the Likud, it was not the rabbis, it was Shimon Peres, the peace dove of liberal Zionists in Israel. And 99% of whatever Israel does ever, I guess, is a PR, and it's for the next election and so on. So instead of making people question the different laws for different population, no, you discuss Ben Gvir. And you may even sanction Ben Gvir. It's a distraction of it's not about structure, It's about the decor. It's about the cosmetics of the things. There's no difference. The settlers are funded by the state. The settlers are protected by the state. The settlers are diplomatically served by the Israeli Foreign Ministry and the Israeli civil society and the Israeli liberals and the peace industry even. If you wish to go to live in a settlement in Hebron, you get a bank account, you get money, you get protection, you get education, you get infrastructure, and you make it in front of the world, in front of the region, in front of Western societies that don't discuss 1948, don't discuss the different laws between citizens. Let's discuss removing this outspot from Dura. And before you remove this, you make another outspot, or you make settlers burn Hawara, so you make it about condemning Hawara. It is part of making people running after Mirage, after, before coming into a conclusion about certain issue, there's a new problem. But the settlers, when they storm a village, they come with the IDF. 99% of the Israeli Jewish society serves in the IDF as if it's a holy thing. So you protect the settlers' ability to burn my family, and then they say we're not the same. I am just in the army. I'm not a settler. So it is very much the same. And nowadays in the West Bank, there is official Israeli military called the IDF, and there is paramilitary and militias, which is the settlers. The soldier go with the uniform to serve in his duty in the army, and then sometimes will keep the uniform, goes with the settlers to burn trees, olive trees, and houses and so on. But for the media, for managing the narrative, it has to be separated. It has to be used as distraction for whoever want to resist this to go deal with the symptoms or with the marginal part of the issue, so no one can question the roots of the problem. And there's a machine that always producing new crises and new issues and settlers. I don't know. Now they want to cut the Palestinian banks from the international system. And every day they have to produce a new problem. So you as an activist, you as somebody who's not happy with this, can't know where to start and never go to the roots and always be confused and wasted and never-ending new issues.
Yes, narratives can be confusing, systems can be confusing and hard to see. But what isn't hard to see is that people are dying. That isn't complicated. It's a black and white issue that people are dying. That's impossible. I think.
Yeah, I know why the peace industry can't say it. Like, if the peace industry and these heroes that they are platformed in Western media as heroes because they sit with the Palestinian, why they can't say it as simple as that?
Yeah, it's a privilege to, just, I guess, have a microphone in your bedroom and not in front of a congregation or a UN panel. In an ideal world, do you have a vision of what an actually effective peace industry or peace process would look like? Is it, or specific demands, arms embargoes, anything that gets the killing to stop?
I really believe when there's a fire, you take the water, whatever tools you have, and you start putting down the fire. There's no need for discussions and panels and 5-star hotels and hundreds of thousands of dollars and sometimes millions to discuss how to understand the starvation in Gaza, when you can just call it starvation and simply just try to send them food. Like, if you can't stop Israel, at least do urgent aid for the people, or at least don't justify what's happening. Don't justify it because it's not done in your interest anyway. Like, don't be a loser.
Yeah.
At least, like, seriously. But whatever is happening now is another front in this war. It's a war against conscience. It's a war against narratives. It's a war against any human organizing against the system and the beneficiary of the status quo. So maximum we can create a different alternative and take away the term peace, which is a value that humanity has strived to understand and reach, and every single religion and every single human philosopher tried to understand what's peace, and these people just threw this word on evil campaigns to serve whatever peace should fight. As individuals, if we can to organize differently and think about peace as the opposite of war, meaning to deconstruct and understand with using all kind of sciences the war and come up with antibiotics straightforward directly to tackle this, or at least spiritually, if we want to just spiritually discuss it with honesty and with living the values we preach, to send money, to send aid, to create alternative media, to create all these alternative things, because the collapse is coming.
Mm.
And if people, because they live somewhere else safe and they can order their coffee to their bedroom, that they can have an opinions against humans living in their land, indigenous people, and they're not going to pay the price. There will be a price to pay. And history is clear about that, and all religions are clear about that, and all logics are clear about that. So whoever stand morally in this time and this cause, and they are free to look up what morally means, but they have to do it with honesty in their own heart and mind, they're gonna benefit.
When you say the collapse is coming, do you mean just the collapse of the narratives, or the collapse of the state, or both?
I think both, and on the whole mechanism that is enabling this. A year ago, the German chancellor said Netanyahu is doing our dirty work. And frankly, the Israeli government and the Israeli society is doing the dirty work of the Western imperialistic system. And that system is in decline. And when it goes more in decline, the Jews will be first to be sacrificed. They're used to be in the front and to sacrifice their blood and money, serving something no Jewish prophet or philosopher or scientist would ever endorse in theory or in practice. And we see, like, anyone who looks at geopolitics and on economy and on power structures that are changing in the world, the Western society is collapsing. And these people don't love Jews.
Mm.
They use Jews. They use Jews, and the history is clear. Jews know it. And actually, Israelis know it. And when they take evangelical money, they know these people want their Messiah to come to be only good for them and bad for others. But they prefer short-term financial and materialistic rewards over the principle. And that's the remedy for disaster. I don't know how the collapse will look like. I don't know how how the future will look like. But it's clearly for me, if you put certain conditions together, it's going to lead to bad things. I'm not God to predict the future, but it clearly is not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And when the collapse comes, you know, the Western current Kabbalistic culture, it's very selfish, it's very exploitive, and they're not going to say, oh, the Zionists did our dirty game, let's take care of them. They will sacrifice them the first. And every day there's a new war. Every day there's a new front that is like wars are not ending. The new wars is Gaza, West Bank, Syria, Lebanon, Ukraine, Iran. Now Turkey. They are initiating first steps toward the war with Turkey, and Egypt tomorrow. Jews are minority. Jews are not the biggest population and the biggest empire in the world, but they are putting them in the front of all these wars, so their children can be fine in the West. And worst case scenario, it's not going to be them who will pay the biggest price. So awakening needs to happen across all groups and societies, because the normal people are paying the price. Maybe they're good at adapting, maybe they're good at being resilient and whatever they want to call being loser in this situation. But what's coming is worse. What's coming is worse if we don't stand, if we don't even start to grasp what's happening, so we can have a reaction that is rationally right in these moments. But to be in denial, or worse, to be a tool in this evil game, then we're gonna, those people are gonna be as we say in Arabic, the wood for the fire. They're gonna be the wood for the fire. And so they didn't help themselves, and they didn't leave others to live and leave others to figure out their survival. Gaza people are still dying until today. Yesterday, 11, and it's a slaughterhouse. It's a slaughterhouse, and we're fine with that, and we think it's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be fine. The children who were wetting their beds in 2014 war are the one who did October 7. Whether we like it or not, we are a human being. We are a living thing. We have reactions. We have traumas. We have whatever people in New York needs everywhere they need, or even more. It's just to think that you can decide what's gonna be the reactions of others in the short term and the long term, and how much people will accept to not find a way to respond. We have to wake up, and I am not gonna tell people what to think, because I'm hardly knowing what to think myself. But this is not right, and we know it. So why we are pretending otherwise, and why you are buying cheap commercial certainties from actors that everything looks weird about this? It's like a show in the movie, you know.
Thank you. I truly can't thank you enough for your work and telling people what they don't want to hear, but what they need to hear. Is there anything else you think that we need to hear?
I really think there are gonna be very hot months coming with the elections and with the wars that are expanding. That people should reflect in the past 3 years, 4 years, and try to be brave in seeing things differently, because what are you gonna lose? It is the ship is sinking anyway. So what are we trying to protect by staying stubborn about certain attitudes in this war. And if they do it for themselves. Like, I don't want them to do it for my people or for me personally. But if they really follow in a healthy way their own convictions and their own personal causes, the evilness and the disasters will be dealt with in much healthier way. But by sacrificing the personnel for some myths and illusions about, moral wars and all of that, they're really being the wood in this fire. And this fire is not gonna light for them or warm them. They're gonna burn them only.
Thank you so much. And where can people find your work? How can people support your work?
I have my Substack. They're free to join and subscribe. I have my Instagram. I do this in my free time. I'm a single father, but whenever I get an idea or something to say, I'm always happy to share it with people for free. For anyone who is seeking the truth, I'm not here playing games of narratives and so on. If they don't like what I'm saying, there are a million other voices and they can follow, and I don't judge them. History will judge. But if they wanna seek something uncomfortable I'm not saying I'm the truth teller. I'm telling my truth with the best of my abilities. They're welcome to follow. They're welcome to reach out, but hopefully not to silence me. But if they have honest curiosity questions, I never turned any question away as long as they came from a good faith.
Thank you for listening and or watching War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. Please subscribe, rate and review, tell your dads. We'll see you next time.